Ooh, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do here. Day number 16, this is actually. Day number 16. Okay. All right. Okay, we're about to begin. We are live. I'm Shirley Osborne. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon, pleasant evening. I'm Shirley, and this is day number 16, 1/6 of my 45 days. We're making progress, we're making big progress. And I think we're making progress also partly because these last few days have been these last, 4 or 5 days have been so full of movement, literally. Movement that has had me shift time zones, and what would have been the normal 24-hour day somehow stretched because of time zone changes and technological issues, shifted into like 27 days. But we are on track. We are on track. We're doing 45 days of conversations with and about women. And so I'm going to just keep going. Let me apologize for the last 4 or 5 days. There was just so much going on. You know how it is when you travel. I said this, when you travel, before you travel, everything's, you think you've taken care of everything, but always there's something that needs to be handled, something that misses, something that you miss, something that gets left out, or some imprevisto, something that you did not expect, some unexpected occurrence. And my 4 days, 5 days had many of those. So I got to one airport, and things were moving so fast I didn't have time. Just not time. People were moving so fast I didn't have the time. I couldn't find the space that would give me in the time I had, I couldn't find a space that would allow me to do this. That was JFK Airport, which makes sense. It's a busy airport. And then I come to the airport in Antigua, and I find this very quiet place. I scoped it out. And I waited for a while to see who would go. Nobody went there. The minute I got there to sit down to work, guess what? All of a sudden, it was Grand Central Station. Everybody found it necessary to be there, walking and talking on cell phones, having conversations. And so finally I got to my destination, and technological issues became the issue, because in all parts of the world we don't have the same easy access to the things that we need. And where I am right now in Montserrat, we're having some challenges. There are some serious challenges with electricity and with connection. I have to say, though, that there's work being done on internet connections, and so there's fiber optic cable being piped is not the word, is it? There's fiber optic cable being carried into homes and institutions, and as soon as that's done, well, we should be up and running. We shouldn't have this problem. But what has come up for me over these last 5 days is the importance of being able to adapt and just being flexible, which is, of course, one of the things that are expected of women. We are expected to just adapt and adjust. And it's not a bad thing. It is a good thing, a very good thing, to be able to adapt and adjust. It makes life easier. It's less stressful, because when stuff happens, you observe, you investigate, you figure stuff out, and then you move. You make the move that you need to in order to be successful in the space you're in. The other option is to get all frazzled and frustrated and not have anything happen. We don't want to do that. We want to be ordered and organized and flexible enough to be able to roll with the punches when there's nothing else to do but roll with the punches. And so I've been doing that the last 4 or 5 days. And it's been a reminder, because think of this, I was in the United States, and it's one of the most developed countries in the world. Almost everything you want is right there. And almost every material thing you could think of, you can just go down to the store and pick it up, or call somebody and it'll show up. And then I come to this place, and I was, I've been living abroad for most of my life. I think I said this before. I've been living away from this little island for most of my life, um, and the last year solidly in the U.S. I went to I was in Phoenix. I went to Boston a couple of times, came back. I have not left the U.S. for a year, and so I had readapted, and I come back here, and it is noisy. The other night when I did the first live from here, and people commented on the nature sounds because it was in the evening, and there are crickets and tree frogs, some tiny frogs that make the most well, for me, pretty tinkling sound. So they're really lovely sounds. And honestly, I have to tell you, I had not noticed. I really had not noticed the noises, because you come back and you slip back into certain things. So I was having the conversation with you, and the background noises, I literally did not notice until I read a comment that said so. And then the other night I did another one, and the same thing. But that one I was aware, but it was the middle of the night and there's nothing you could do. And I thought, since somebody found them interesting, this is part of what we do. I'm talking to you from here, so here's what you get to experience some of what I'm experiencing here. And the being adaptable and flexible is all part and parcel of that. Stuff is going on. You can do one of two things: either not do the lives because you can't have absolute quiet, which serves no one really, or you work with it and look what happened. Other people found something positive and attractive in it. I'm so sorry. And so if when we're doing things that are, oh my goodness, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry, I got a tickle in my throat. If when we are doing things, we are, thank you. I have no idea where that came from, but that's teaching me to be adaptable and flexible. It's happening. I can pretend it's not there, or deal with it, or thank my friend who heard me and brought me water. Yes, so the ability to be adaptable and flexible is really, really important. And I remember saying before that I am, because I come from this little island and I've lived abroad so much, and in places like London and New York and Phoenix. Phoenix has 5 million something residents. Arizona has, well, let me not go to figures. The last time I checked, which was not very long, not very recently, the population of Arizona was 6,000 or something. Like 5,000 or so was congregated in and around the Phoenix area. So being able to go, having had the opportunity to have grown up in this little island, which, as I said before, when I was growing up, had 11 or 12,000 people, and now has 4,500, if that. But being able to live in big cities, huge cities, and being able to travel in huge cities where there are 5, 10, 12, 20 million people living, and feeling comfortable, feeling at home, if not necessarily safe, but feeling at home, feeling confident that I could navigate, I could manage, I could survive, is a skill that is really, really important to have. And I think I might have said before, one of the reasons why I have this is because if you live in a big city, you don't need to travel too far to go anywhere. In fact, some of the studies show, in big country, probably the same thing. Some of the studies show that Americans, in fact, don't move more than, and I could have checked this if I'd planned to talk about this, but there's some massive percentage of Americans who sort of spend most of their life within 5 or 10 miles of where they were born, kind of thing. Those are not the specific figures. The idea is that there are lots of Americans who don't move very far from where they live, and that perhaps is changing. Because, for example, in Phoenix, the people in Phoenix, in Arizona, a lot are people who have come in from elsewhere for work and so on. So that is not the same for every place, but what has helped make me so adaptable and flexible where living arrangements, for example, are concerned, is precisely that. I grew up in this little place where we had to move around in order to acquire the things that we needed, including education, clothes. I remember saying to somebody the other day, if you needed to go to a wedding, you needed to either go somewhere, America or London or somewhere, to buy the clothes, or have somebody from there send it to you. Now, of course, Nowadays, you just Amazon sends things everywhere. But the having to do stuff, having to live like that when I was growing up, is one of the things that has helped me. And also, I had parents who taught me, who encouraged these things. And one of the things I do with women a lot is encourage them to provide these experiences for their children, girls and boys. These experiences that allow them to open up and experience these experiences these experiences allow them to get to know other cultures, other languages, other peoples, other religions, other philosophies of life, if you will. Because the reality is that women tend to be more flexible and open where these things are concerned. And the reason why women are more flexible and adaptable and open is because women have throughout our history had to collaborate and connect. If you go back millennia, thousands of years, men went to war. Women also went to war, but women also did all of the other things. And they learned to exchange everything from seeds for growing to childcare and bartering everything that they needed in order to be able to survive, in order to be able to keep their families and communities alive. So women have historically and traditionally been required, found it necessary, and I am guessing also found it enjoyable and helpful to be able to intersect and intertwine and interweave themselves, into and out of communities and societies and cultures that were different to theirs in ways that men did not because of how we're socialized. And so being an island girl, I've had to develop that flexibility. And being a woman, that kind of flexibility is pretty much wired into me, and it has helped. And the way the world is now, where everything is literally within reach in some way, shape, or form, it actually is important that we be flexible and adaptable, that we be open to opportunities, to experiences, to people. Because if the idea is to live our best lives, to be our most extraordinary selves, one, it requires lots of experiences, what I call a vocabulary of experiences. Yes. And two, those experiences don't come from us, they come from others. We are taught as children to read. Reading takes you away into another world. Why would you want to go into another world? To experience the difference, to make comparisons, to do, among other things, to strengthen what you already have, to improve what you have, to adapt and adjust what you have, and make the overall better. That for me is what travel and interacting with other communities and so on is about. And I am part of being a woman. Being a woman allows me to be able to insert myself more easily and less threateningly into different cultures, situations, and getting all of that experience, all of that relationship and communicating and connecting with others makes me more adaptable and flexible and adjustable. I'm not sure if I can be adjustable, but what is important about that, it's not only that it makes our lives more easy. It makes our lives easier when we can look at things in the context of other things, see how they're connected to other things. Yes. What it also does is it creates the opportunities for us to find other parts of ourselves which we would not have. So if, for example, I had never ever left this tiny island, I probably would have been a nice person anyway. I'd have been good at something and I'd have had friends. But having been able to learn other languages, having been able to eat other foods, having been able to have conversations about or experience other people's rituals and traditions and ceremonies is invaluable experience. That is what makes the difference. That is what rounds you out and fills you up and brings out the other piece. Those are the things that have allowed me to be the person who can commit herself to 45 days of talking about stuff, who can commit herself to talking 45 days about stuff, because I've experienced this stuff. I'm thinking about this stuff. I know people who are working through these things. I've had the experiences. And what I want for women, when I teach girls, what I tell them is, when you grow up, save your money and travel. Do a lot of reading, save your money and travel. I say that to women. I say, go out, spend time with your girlfriends, go do all kinds of things, speak to all kinds of people, speak to men, women, children. We don't talk to children a lot in many places, probably most places of the world. But you can have the most amazing, interesting, insightful conversations with children. And we tend to not pay too much attention to that. But being open and adaptable and flexible and say, let me listen to what this child has to say. You don't just listen to adults because adults know everything. You don't just listen to men because men are in charge of something. You listen to everybody. And so when you're working in an organization, if you are a leader or you are at the bottom of the totem pole, you listen. If you're down here, you listen to learn how to move up, let's say. If you're up here, you listen to learn how to navigate and how to manage and how to organize the people downstream of you. It is listening, paying attention, being open that allows us the flexibility to be really, really, really exceptional and extraordinary. It doesn't happen on its own. It happens because we have these experiences, because we can just as easily speak to a pauper as to a prince. That's from literature. You know, you can talk to anybody. You can hold a conversation with anyone. Feel confident enough to do that. And we can talk about how to do that. And I can give you one quick piece of advice. The way to have a conversation with anyone in the world, have good conversation, is quite simply ask questions. Ask them about themselves and about what they do. You don't have to be a rocket scientist to be able to have a good, insightful, powerful, uplifting, educational conversation with a rocket scientist. Ask the rocket scientist, what is rocket science? Why did you decide to do that? What is such and such? And as they speak, you come up with questions from what they say and lead the conversation. If you're not open, if you're not flexible, if you're not adaptable, you won't have those conversations, you won't have those experiences, and you will miss out on so much that could help you grow. Because ultimately, what are we here for? If not to, among other things, to find, explore, and share the best parts of ourselves. And the only way to find the best parts of ourselves is to be open to change, open to not flexible, to be spontaneous, to not always just be rigid and follow the line, to be able to step off the line here, step off there, stay back here sometimes, be flexible. That's where we find the bits and pieces of ourselves that show up the best parts of us. There is no doubt in my mind. And so what I want to leave you with today is that be open. Allow yourselves to be flexible. The situation is not one you wanted, but jump in and have a good time. Or jump in and lead it. Say, no, I can do that. I can handle this. Let me do this. Let me take this on. No, but this is what I wanted to do. This is the only, no. Take it on. Take on something new. Be open, be flexible, be adaptable. If I said nothing else of import, take this. Be open. Be open to experiences. Be open to people. Be open to knowledge and the wisdoms that are in the world. And sometimes they come from children. Yes? So I will talk to you some more about this little island. We'll talk some more about these things that we've been talking about. We'll talk about being open and some of the positive, powerful, empowering aspects of being open. I want to leave you with one quick thing. Thank you. I want to leave you with one quick thing. One of the things we're going to talk about this week is, I said a couple of sessions ago I posted a short video about that said quite simply, I keep my face clean, my body strong, and my hair wild. I keep my face clean, my body strong, and my hair wild. We're going to talk in depth about what that means. They're really, really important. They're important for us, they're important for individuals, and especially for women. So, thank you all very, very, very much, my darlings, Chesley, Kate, Caroline, Angela, Beulah. I can't see any other names. Dr. Lewis. I'm not seeing all the names here, but thank you all very, very much for checking in. Tomorrow, I'm probably going to do the live run, but this time again. We switched time zones, like I said, so I'm in Eastern time. I'm actually in New York time, so it's just after 5 here. So we'll probably do it around about 5 o'clock tomorrow, same time, 5 o'clock Eastern time. And we'll talk tomorrow, perhaps about the keep my face clean piece, because actually that has been coming up quite a bit. People are talking to me about the lives, and they're asking me questions about women's relationships with one another. And I think a good place to talk is to begin. That piece of the conversation is about keeping our face clean and using our intuition to help us walk that path. So thank you all very, very, very much, everyone. Take good care. I will see you tomorrow.